Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of the International Space Station Beta, her eyes fixed on the massive alien vessel that had appeared in Earth's orbit just hours ago. The ship's crystalline structure seemed to absorb and reflect sunlight in ways that defied physics, creating an ethereal display that would have been beautiful if it wasn't so terrifying. "They're hailing us again," Lieutenant Rodriguez reported from his communication station. "Same frequency as before." Chen took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. As Earth's appointed representative for first contact, she carried the weight of humanity's future on her shoulders. "Put them through." The holographic display materialized in the center of the deck, revealing Supreme Commander Vexthor of the Nevaran Empire. His translucent, crystalline form towered over them, even in holographic form. Multiple sets of compound eyes studied the humans with what Chen had learned to recognize as disdain. "Your response time is inadequate." The alien's words came through the universal translator. "We have waited 3 of your Earth hours for your answer." "With respect, Supreme Commander," Chen replied, keeping her voice steady. "A decision that affects the future of our entire species requires careful consideration." "There is nothing to consider." Vexthor's form flickered with what their xenologists had identified as amusement. "Your species has been evaluated and found wanting. Your technology is primitive, your military capabilities laughable. The Nevaran Empire offers protection and guidance. The alternative is unfortunate." Behind Chen, the station's sensors quietly recorded everything about the alien vessel, its energy signatures, structural composition, and radiation patterns, data that would prove invaluable in the coming months, though the Nevarans didn't seem to consider Earth's monitoring equipment sophisticated enough to be a concern. "Supreme Commander," Chen chose her words carefully, "I must warn you that appearances can be deceiving. Humanity has faced countless challenges throughout our history." Yes, Vexthor interrupted. "Your species' habit of excessive communication is well documented. Our analysis is complete. You will accept our protection, or we will demonstrate why the Nevaran Empire has remained unchallenged for 10,000 years." Chen's tablet discreetly vibrated. Confirmation that the quantum entanglement transmitter had successfully sent all their gathered data to Earth's hidden research facilities. She allowed herself a small smile, one that the Nevarans would likely interpret as submission. "We request 1 Earth month to prepare our world for integration," she said, her tone deliberately meek. "You have 2 weeks, Vexthor declared. "We will return with our integration fleet. Any resistance will be met with immediate pacification." As the hologram disappeared, Rodriguez turned to Chen. "Admiral, they're leaving orbit, heading toward the Kuiper Belt." "Good," Chen said, her demeanor changing completely. "Send word to all stations. Operation Ghostlight is a go. And get me a direct line to Project Prometheus. Dr. Patel needs to see this data immediately." "Do you think they bought it?" Rodriguez asked, already sending the coded transmissions. Chen watched the alien ship disappear into faster-than-light travel, its wake distorting the stars behind it. "They did exactly what we expected. Advanced species always make the same mistake. They judge us by their standards, their evolution, their way of thinking." She turned to face her crew, her eyes bright with determination. "They see our diversity as weakness, our adaptability as primitive, our creativity as chaos. In 2 weeks, they'll learn why those are actually humanity's greatest strengths. And if their weapons are as advanced as they claim," someone asked, "then they'll learn another human trait." Chen smiled, but there was steel in her expression. "We don't take kindly to ultimatums. Begin Phase 1. Let's show them why they should have heeded humanity's final warning." As the crew rushed to their stations, Chen looked once more at the spot where the Nevaran ship had vanished. In their arrogance, they had made a crucial mistake. They had given humanity time to prepare. And if there was one thing humans excelled at, it was turning perceived weaknesses into unexpected strengths. Dr. Maya Patel hadn't slept in 36 hours, but the excitement in her eyes made her look more alive than ever. The massive underground facility beneath the Atacama Desert hummed with activity as scientists and engineers from every nation worked with single-minded purpose. On the central holographic display, a simulation played out, showing crystalline structures similar to the Nevarin ship dissolving into nothing. "Run it again," she commanded, her fingers dancing across the quantum interface. "Adjust the frequency by 0.03. The simulation reset, and this time the crystalline structure didn't just dissolve. It seemed to fade from existence, like a mirage disappearing in the desert heat. "That's it," Maya whispered, then louder. "That's it. Get me Admiral Chen." Within moments, Chen's hologram appeared in the lab. Even through the projection, Maya could see the Admiral's exhaustion. Everyone was running on borrowed time. "Please tell me you have good news, Doctor," Chen said, her voice tight with carefully controlled tension. "Better than good," Maya replied, sending the simulation data. "We've cracked their quantum crystalline technology. The Nevarins don't just use their ship's crystalline structure for defense. It's the foundation of their entire technological advantage. But there's a fundamental flaw in their approach." Chen studied the data, her expression shifting from confusion to dawning understanding. "They're locked into a single quantum state." "Exactly." Maya's excitement was palpable. "They've achieved perfect crystalline stability, which makes their ships nearly indestructible by conventional weapons. But that very perfection is their weakness. They can't adapt, can't change their quantum signature once it's set. And we found a way to exploit that." The Admiral's hologram leaned forward. "How long until it's ready?" "The prototype is already operational. We're calling it the Quantum Shade Device. When activated, it creates a field that forces their crystalline technology to phase shift into a different quantum state. Their ships won't be destroyed. They'll simply cease to exist in our reality." "And the crew?" Maya's expression sobered. "The field only affects their technology. The crews will be safely deposited in normal space, their ships effectively erased from around them. Lethal only if they're not wearing environmental suits." Chen nodded, relief visible in her posture. Even facing an ultimatum, humanity wouldn't resort to unnecessary bloodshed. "How many can we build in the time we have left?" "That's the beauty of it." Maya gestured to the fabrication units lining the facility walls. "We've adapted their own crystalline technology, but with our understanding of quantum uncertainty. Each device is simple, small, and can be mass-produced. We'll have enough to create a defensive web around Earth within 10 days. They'll detect the power signatures," Chen warned. Maya's smile turned predatory. "No, they won't. We're hiding the devices in plain sight, disguising them as debris from our primitive satellite network. To their sensors, it will look like we're desperately trying to upgrade our defenses with technology they consider obsolete." In orbit, automated constructors were already deploying what appeared to be a crude defensive grid. The Nevarin surveillance probes they detected watching Earth would see exactly what they expected: a primitive species scrambling to mount a futile defense. "What about the quantum entanglement network?" Chen asked. "Already integrated into the system. The moment their fleet arrives, we can activate every device simultaneously. They won't have time to adapt. Not that they could, given their technological philosophy." Chen's hologram nodded slowly. "Send me the full specifications. I'll brief the Defense Council immediately." "And Maya, well done. All of you." As the Admiral's image faded, Maya turned back to her team. The lab was filled with some of the brightest minds from every corner of Earth, people who would have been competitors or even rivals just weeks ago. Now they worked as one, driven by a common purpose. "They thought giving us 2 weeks was an act of mercy," she said to no one in particular. "They never considered that humans work best under pressure, that we achieve the impossible when our backs are against the wall." She looked at the simulation one more time, watching the crystalline structure fade away. The Nevarins had evolved into beings of perfect order, their technology a reflection of that philosophy. They couldn't comprehend a species that thrived on chaos, that turned uncertainty into an advantage. In 10 days, they would learn that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't our technology. It was our ability to think differently, to find solutions where others saw only problems. The countdown to their return had become a countdown to their awakening, and humanity would be ready. The Nevarin integration fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel exactly on schedule. 300 crystalline vessels, each one a masterpiece of engineering, arranged in a perfect geometric formation that reflected their species' obsession with order. Their arrival turned Earth's night sky into a dazzling display of refracted light, beautiful and terrifying in equal measure. In the command center beneath Mount Cheyenne, Admiral Chen watched the tactical display with steady eyes. Around her, the combined military leadership of Earth maintained absolute silence, waiting. They're broadcasting. Lieutenant Rodriguez announced from his station, his voice tight with tension. The holographic form of Supreme Commander Vexthor materialized in the center of the command center, even more imposing than before. His crystalline body pulsed with what their xenologists had identified as pride. Your time has expired. The universal translator rendered his complex harmonics. We observe your pitiful attempts at defense. Primitive satellite technology, scattered without purpose or pattern. This is why you require our guidance. Chen stepped forward, her posture relaxed, almost casual. Supreme Commander, I see you've brought quite a fleet. 300 ships arranged in the Nevarin Crown formation. Impressive. Vexthor's form flickered with surprise at her recognition of their tactical pattern. You are more observant than expected. Perhaps there is hope for your species after all. Submit now, and we will be gentle in our integration process. Before we do that, Chen replied, allowing a small smile to form, I have a question. In your 10,000 years of dominance, has any species ever asked you why you arrange your ships in such perfect geometric patterns? The alien commander's confusion was evident even through the hologram. Our formations are the product of 10 millennia of tactical evolution. They represent the perfect balance of offensive and defensive capabilities. They represent predictability, Chen corrected. Perfect, unchanging, absolute predictability. Just like your technology, your tactics have evolved to a point where they cannot adapt, cannot change, cannot imagine anything different. Vexthor's form pulsed with what might have been anger. Your primitive understanding off. Look at our satellite network again, Chen interrupted. Look harder. What do you see? The alien commander paused, his multiple sets of eyes focusing on the tactical display. Scattered debris. Inefficient. Chaotic. Chaos theory, Chen said softly. Humanity's greatest mathematical achievement wasn't in finding order in chaos, but in understanding that chaos itself has patterns. Patterns that can be used. She nodded to Rodriguez, who pressed a single key on his console. Across Earth's orbit, thousands of seemingly random pieces of debris suddenly pulsed with quantum energy. The scattered network revealed itself as an intricate web, following mathematical patterns that only became visible when viewed as a whole. Impossible. Vexthor's voice carried genuine shock. Your technology cannot. We learned from you, Chen continued, her voice carrying throughout the command center. Your crystalline technology, your quantum structures, your perfect order. We studied it all. Then we did what humans do best. We found a way to turn it upside down. The quantum shade devices activated simultaneously, their fields rippling through space in carefully calculated waves. The effect was immediate and stunning. Starting from the outer edges of the Nevarin fleet, ships began to fade from reality. Not with explosions or destruction, but with a gentle shimmer, like morning dew evaporating in sunlight. What is this? Vexthor's hologram flickered wildly as his own ship began to experience the effect. This is humanity's response to your ultimatum, Chen replied calmly. We've induced a quantum state shift in your crystalline technology. Your ships aren't being destroyed. They're being phased into a parallel quantum state, one where your perfect order cannot exist. The command center watched in silence as ship after ship disappeared. The Nevarin crews, protected by their environmental suits, were left floating in space, completely unharmed but stripped of their technological superiority. Earth's space rescue vessels were already moving to retrieve them. "You should have heeded our warning," Chen said to the rapidly fading hologram of Vexthor. "Humanity's strength isn't in our technology or our military might. It's in our ability to think differently, to find solutions where others see only problems. We warned you not to underestimate us." As the last Nevarin ship faded from reality, Chen turned to her staff. "Begin rescue operations, and send word to the Quantum Shade research team. It's time for Phase 2. The message was clear. Humanity wouldn't just defend itself, it would reshape the galaxy's understanding of what was possible. The age of perfect order was over. The era of adaptive chaos had begun. News of the Nevarin fleet's fate spread through the galaxy at faster-than-light speeds. In the Grand Council chambers of the Galactic Concordat, representatives from 1,000 species gathered in emergency session, their voices rising in a cacophony of confusion and concern. The quantum recordings of the event played on endless loops, 300 of the most advanced ships in known space, simply fading from existence. Dr. Maya Patel stood before this assembly, her holographic form projected from Earth. Behind her, a simulation showed the principles of the quantum shade technology, deliberately simplified for diplomatic purposes. The full capabilities remained Earth's closely guarded secret. "The technology poses no threat to organic life," she explained, her voice carrying the authority of someone who had revolutionized galactic warfare. "It simply induces a phase shift in crystalline-based quantum technologies, transferring them to a parallel state of existence." "And the crews?" demanded the Zixtil representative, their bioluminescent form pulsing with agitation. "Were retrieved safely by Earth vessels," Maya replied. All 3,427 Nevarin personnel were provided medical attention and are being treated according to all established galactic conventions. The chamber erupted in murmurs. A species considered primitive just weeks ago had not only defeated one of the galaxy's most powerful forces, but had done so without a single casualty. In her private command office aboard the new Earth Defense Station Alpha, Admiral Chen watched the proceedings while reviewing the latest reports. The Quantum Shade Network had been expanded to cover Earth's entire solar system, and work had already begun on protecting humanity's extrasolar colonies. "Admiral," her AI assistant materialized, its form a simple blue sphere. "We're receiving diplomatic requests from 27 species. They're all offering technological exchanges, military alliances, or both." Chen smiled slightly. "And the Nevarins? Supreme Commander Vexthor has requested a private audience." His exact words were, "Interesting. Share them." He said, "I wish to understand the beauty of chaos." Chen leaned back in her chair, considering. The rescue operation had revealed something unexpected about the Nevarins. Without their ships, stripped of their technological superiority, many had shown remarkable adaptability. It seemed their rigid order was more cultural than biological. "Signal Dr. Patel," she decided. "It's time for Phase 3. In the massive fabrication facility beneath the Atacama Desert, work continued around the clock. The original quantum shade devices had been just the beginning. Maya's team had already developed second-generation prototypes that could selectively target specific quantum signatures, allowing friendly ships to operate freely while maintaining the defensive screen. But the real breakthrough came from an unexpected source: the Nevarin engineers themselves. Several had requested asylum on Earth, fascinated by humanity's approach to quantum mechanics. Their insights into crystalline technology, combined with human creativity, had led to something entirely new. "We call it the Ghost Protocol," Maya explained to Chen in a secure briefing. "Instead of forcing technology into a different quantum state, it allows controlled shifting between states. A ship equipped with this system could phase through solid matter, become completely undetectable, or even exist in multiple states simultaneously." The implications for defense go far beyond military applications, Maya interrupted, her excitement evident. Think about space exploration, scientific research, even colonization. We could send ships through the hearts of stars to study them directly, establish bases in previously inaccessible locations, maybe even find ways to travel between dimensions. Chen nodded slowly. And the Navarans are proving to be excellent collaborators now that they've abandoned their rigid thinking. Their experience with crystalline technology, combined with our theoretical approach. Maya paused, searching for words. It's like they provided the perfect tools, but never imagined using them differently. The Admiral turned to look at the Earth, visible through her station's quantum glass windows. Humanity had faced extinction and emerged not just surviving, but revolutionizing galactic technology. More importantly, they had done so while maintaining their principles, finding a non-lethal solution, offering mercy to their defeated enemies, and now working to share their discoveries. Prepare a proposal for the Defense Council, Chen ordered. I want to establish a joint research initiative, humans and Navarans working together to explore these new possibilities. Let's show the galaxy that our greatest strength isn't just our ability to innovate, but our willingness to collaborate, even with former enemies. As Maya's hologram faded, Chen received another notification. More ships had been detected entering the solar system. Diplomatic vessels from dozens of species, all eager to understand how a primitive world had achieved the impossible. They would find humanity ready not just to defend itself, but to lead the galaxy into a new era of exploration and discovery. The age of rigid perfection was over. The time of adaptive innovation had begun, and humanity was holding the door open for anyone willing to embrace change. 1 year after the Navaran incident, Earth had become the unlikely center of a galactic renaissance. The massive space station christened Unity Point orbited at the L5 Lagrange point, its crystalline quantum hybrid architecture gleaming like a diamond against the backdrop of space. Inside, representatives from over 50 species worked together in what had become the galaxy's premier research and development facility. Admiral Chen stood in her favorite observation post, watching a demonstration of the latest Ghost Protocol applications. A fleet of test ships, their hulls incorporating both human and Navaran design elements, shifted through quantum states in a choreographed dance that would have been impossible just a year ago. Remarkable progress, a familiar harmonic voice commented. Chen turned to find Vexthor standing beside her, his crystalline form now modified with adaptive quantum matrices, a symbol of how far the Navarans had come in embracing change. Your engineers deserve much of the credit, Chen replied. Once they allowed themselves to think beyond traditional boundaries, their expertise proved invaluable. That is perhaps the greatest lesson we learned from our miscalculation. Vexthor's form shifted in what Chen now recognized as thoughtful amusement. We had achieved such perfection in our chosen path that we forgot the value of exploring new ones. Dr. Maya Patel joined them, her hologram materializing with a shimmer of quantum energy. The latest test results are in, she announced, her excitement palpable. The dimensional variance drive worked exactly as theorized. We've successfully opened a stable gateway to parallel quantum states. The implications were staggering. What had begun as a defensive technology had evolved into something that could revolutionize space travel, exploration, and their very understanding of reality itself. The Galactic Concordat is calling it the human revolution, Vexthor observed. Not because humans dominate the new technologies, but because you taught us all to think differently. Through the quantum glass windows, they could see ships from dozens of species docking at Unity Point. Each brought their own technological expertise, their own unique perspectives. The rigid hierarchies and technological stagnation that had defined galactic society for millennia were giving way to a new era of collaboration and innovation. We're receiving reports from the Dimensional Research Team, Maya continued. They've detected quantum signatures that suggest the existence of ancient civilizations in parallel states of reality. Entire cultures that might have evolved along different technological paths. Chen smiled, remembering the day the Navaran fleet had arrived with their ultimatum. They thought they were coming to protect a primitive species. Instead, they helped unlock the next chapter in galactic evolution. In the station's massive central laboratory, human scientists worked alongside their alien counterparts, including many former Nevarrans. The distinction between mentor and student had blurred. Everyone was both teacher and learner, contributing their unique perspectives to push the boundaries of what was possible. The Ghost Protocol has been adapted for medical applications, Maya reported, pulling up a holographic display. We're using controlled quantum shifting to perform previously impossible surgical procedures. The Zixtil have combined it with their bioluminescent technology to create healing methods that border on miraculous. And the defense applications? Chen asked, ever mindful of her primary responsibility. Have become largely unnecessary, Vexthor answered. When any ship can shift between quantum states at will, traditional warfare becomes obsolete. We must either cooperate or risk mutual annihilation. So we've achieved peace through deterrence. No, Maya corrected, we've achieved peace through innovation. The species that once competed for military superiority are now racing to make the next breakthrough in quantum physics, medical science, or dimensional exploration. We've given them a new way to prove their worth. Outside, a new ship was approaching the station. The first vessel built jointly by human and Nevarran engineers. Its design incorporated principles that would have been considered impossible a year ago, using chaos theory to create stable quantum matrices that could adapt and evolve in real time. We warned them, Chen mused, watching the ship dock. We tried to tell them not to underestimate humanity. But I never imagined this would be the result. That, Vexthor's crystalline form resonated with what had become genuine respect, is precisely why your species succeeded where we had stagnated. You not only embraced the unknown, you turned it into opportunity. As the three of them watched the ongoing activities in the station, a message arrived from Earth Defense Command. More quantum signatures have been detected in previously unexplored regions of space. New possibilities, new challenges, new frontiers to explore. Humanity had faced extinction and instead sparked a revolution. They had turned a moment of crisis into an opportunity for transformation, not just for themselves but for the entire galaxy. The species that had been dismissed as primitive had become the catalyst for a new age of discovery and cooperation. The final warning they had issued to the Nevarran fleet had not been a threat, but a promise that humanity would always find a way to overcome, to adapt, to revolutionize. And in keeping that promise, they had changed the course of galactic history forever.